What's up guys, welcome to the Funhouse. Hey, check it out. Today we're gonna build custom floating shelves using 2x8 lumber and some fasteners for the office with a little twist to it. Super simple, easy to do, let's get to it. I designed the build on SketchUp in order to have a visual and to determine how much material we'll be using. Unfortunately, I did not render the build to scale and it came back to haunt me later down the line. Since floating shelves do not have visible brackets supporting them, the plan is to secure them to the studs that make up the wall with pocket screws. Using the stud finder, we identified all the studs and placed a piece of masking tape as a reference. This will come in handy when pre-drilling the pocket holes on the shelves. After measuring the width of each wall, I transferred those measurements to the 2x8s to pre-plan the cut lines and the miters. I wanted to get the floating shelves all the way around the office minus the accent wall. After the cut lines were marked, I used a joiner to square the side of the board that were going to be placed facing the wall for an even and flush look. If you don't have a joiner, you can rip the edge with a table saw or a circular saw to get a square edge. This step is not absolutely necessary, as you can keep the factory edges on the stock if you prefer. As long as you picked out boards that do not have a severe twist or bow to them, they're good to go. Once the edges were squared, I took the boards to the miter saw to cut them down to length and make the 45-degree miter cuts. These cuts can also be done with a circular saw if you don't have a miter saw, by using a speed square or a jig with a straight edge. After making the cuts, we put the boards through the planer to skim off about 1/8 of an inch on both surfaces. Another optional step if you have a planer, but it does make sanding easier. This is where identifying the location of the studs was essential beforehand. Since we are attaching these shelves directly to the studs for added strength, we transfer the stud locations to the shelves and drill the pocket holes. We then sanded all surfaces with 120 and 220 grit sandpaper before applying the stain and letting it dry overnight. With the stain dry, we added 3 coats of matte polyurethane to finish the look. I went with this classic black stain to match my standing desk that I built a few weeks prior. Once the polyurethane dried overnight, it was time to install. Oh, wow. This is where measuring and confirming come into play. The mistake here was that I made the miter cut at the length of the wall and not accounting for the width of the shelf on the other side. I could have moved the shelves to the edge of the wall for a quick fix, but I already drilled the pocket holes for the studs. So it was either continue with the original plan and fix the mistakes after, or adjust the placement of the shelves and make new pocket holes. So I decided to continue with the original placement and fix the gaps since I had plenty of scrap wood laying around in the shop.
What is this?
Fucking sculpture.
With those pieces cut, sanded, and stained, I secured them in place with the pocket screws. And that's all there is to it. For an added effect, I added strips of RGB LEDs to give it a nice lounge vibe in the office. And there you have it, guys, that was the build. We did run into a couple of roadblocks, but it wasn't anything that we couldn't correct. Key lesson learned here was measure. Again, measure a third time, and measure some more before you start cutting. Yeah. I got the idea for the floating shelves from Glen over at DIY Curators using pocket holes and fasteners to attach the floating shelves directly to the studs on the wall. If you anchor the floating shelves to multiple studs, it's pretty strong. I didn't test it with the weights that he used because I'm not gonna be putting more than, I'd say like 40 pounds up there, maybe. But as long as you get it onto the studs, then you're pretty much good to go. You can also use plastic anchors, but you're gonna be limited to how much weight you can put on top. Other than that, let me know what you think. If you would have done it different, leave it in the comments down below. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed already. I have the details to the build down in the description below, and I'll also have it up on my website at thefunhouse.com. Check it out if you haven't done so already. Other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next build.